Today I want to share with you a set of movements, Qigong exercise, sometimes called Ba Duan Jin, or the 8 pieces of brocade. There's a few different kind of variations on some of these movements, so what I'll be sharing with you is kind of a conglomeration or a sort of a fusion of the different kind of variations that I've been taught by my teachers and have just observed and noticed around the town, as you might say. So first things first, want to get our correct posture. So give your feet a comfortable amount of space, anywhere from hip to shoulder width distance or so, allowing your heels to scoot out just a little bit wider than might be normal for you, so that your heels and pinky toes kind of clearly create a sort of edge for your posture there. Your big toes will be a little to the inside of that edge. Let your knees bend slightly, and you can kind of drop your seat downward a little bit, tucking your tailbone under slightly and allowing your lower back to expand toward the wall or toward whatever might be behind you, just letting your lower back open up. And as that happens, you might feel your belly try to draw in. Once the lower back feels really open, let your lower belly soften, and it too can kind of drop down toward the ground. Let your lower body be fairly heavy here. As your lower body sinks into the ground, allow the crown of your head to be very light. It might rise slightly, lengthening the back of your neck. The chin, your shoulders, and your chest will remain somewhat heavy as well. So the crown lifts, the chin, the chest, and the shoulders still fairly heavy. Allow the tip of your tongue to lightly rise and connect to the roof of your mouth. Your eyelids are free to gently close. The corners of your mouth are welcome to gently lift. Allow your palms and fingers to gently stretch, inviting a feeling of spaciousness all throughout your body. And we'll take a few moments to just settle into the space, become aware of the sounds around you, the temperature of the air, and your connection to the ground. Noting your relationship in this moment to gravity, aligning your body with gravity as best you can. The more you allow gravity to pull downward, the more you can feel the ground helping to hold you up. Less work, more result. Find 3 smooth, comfortable breaths. Go into this first movement, please be mindful that you keep a slight bend through your joints. As we make all of these movements, you'll bend at your knees, dropping your seat downward so your spine stays upright, scooping your hands. You can interlace your fingers if you like, or just point the fingertips at one another. As you rise up, you'll turn your palms toward the sky, the shoulders drop, a little bend in your knees and elbows as you press your palms upward. Start again, bending at your knees, scooping with the hands. Again, they can interlace or just kind of point at one another if you prefer. Stretching open through your palms, let the shoulders drop down. Your tailbone can kind of sink down. And we'll go yet again. Taking care to allow your breath and your body to cooperate with one another. Welcome to explore how to best make that happen for yourself. It might be that you inhale as you rise up and exhale as you extend. You might find that a different rhythm of breath feels better for you. You might inhale all the way through that whole process, including the extending upward. It may be completely reversed. As long as you are breathing, that's a good place to start from. Let your body and your breath feel free to sort it out amongst themselves. No need to overthink. In a smooth, continuous manner, and again, minding that you're not fully extending the limbs. The joints are maintaining a slight bend, so we're not using our full range of motion, but we are using our full intention, 100% of your capacity to be engaged with what you're doing. Maybe like 90% of what your body is physically capable of doing in terms of range of motion. There'll be a little bit of a remainder between those two. And that little remainder, whether it's 10 or so percent or whatever it might be, helps to encourage internal activity in the body. Let's do this just once or twice more. If it feels really good, I encourage you to keep it going. When you find something that's working well, it's a good idea to keep it going, to help it really settle in your body and become something that you can draw upon in the future should you need. Let your arms settle at your side. And we'll move onward, allowing, when you're ready to, a slight rotation inward of your arms, so the backs of the hands face one another, or they may even kind of connect, or the backs of the wrists might connect. And then from there, you'll press your palms slightly back and downward, and as that happens, just give a little turn of your head, bringing your chin to one shoulder, and then gently draw yourself back through the center, and head the other direction. The palms press back and down, stretching open, and a little turn of your head, centering up, drawing inward slightly, and then expanding open as you turn your gaze. Taking care once again that you at least are aware of how your breath and your body work together. You don't need to enforce anything or micromanage that relationship, but I encourage you to be aware of it. And if you feel so inclined, you are always welcome to explore adjusting it. If you're inhaling at the center and exhaling as you turn, you may, just for fun, explore reversing that operation. What does it feel like if you inhale on that turn of your head and exhale on the way back to the center? Nothing that you have to do, but something that is worth being willing to explore. But trust your breath and your body will ultimately do what serves them best if you allow your breath and body to simply do what feels right. Find a couple more for each side. Again, being mindful as well that we're not using up necessarily the full range of motion of the body. You don't need to turn your head as far as you physically can. better to be fully engaged with however much movement you create, even if it's not the full possible physical range of motion. Full intention, not necessarily full range of motion. Let's do one more each side, just for kicks. Again, if you are feeling especially connected to this movement, if something is resonating or something interesting is coming up, I encourage you to keep going. Allow this action to really get settled in your body so you can call upon it in the future should you need. Otherwise, from here, we'll take it onward, allowing, when you're ready to, for a slightly wider foundation. You might toe heel your feet apart a couple times. Here we're looking for at least shoulder width distance for the feet, maybe even wider for some of us. You, of course, are welcome to adjust that as you see fit. In this case, with the wider stance, I invite you to turn your big toes outward a little bit more than we've been doing before, but just be mindful that you made that adjustment so that in the future you can put it back in the way that we kind of wanted to have it before. And when you cross your arms in front of your chest, palms facing towards you, and we're going to set up just a little key action with the hand. So you can take your right hand and you're going to form an L with your thumb and your index finger. It'll probably be a reverse L for you as you look out. And then just send that palm forward. So you see there's flexion on the hand. The middle ring pinky fingers are folded in, the index finger straight up, and the thumb points straight across your body. Left hand, the peace fingers are going to come right across from your elbow. You're going to turn with your waist and send your palm to the side of the room. With your left hand, you'll pull across your chest and drop your seat down, tucking your tailbone under slightly as you sink, like you're pulling on a bow and arrow. Then you'll gently rise back up, cross the hands or forearms in front of the chest, and you'll take that to the other side. So again, as you turn through the waist, your thumb and index finger point outward, your palm is clearly pointed at the side, and then your right peace fingers can pull across your chest as you drop and tuck your tail under. You're just like pulling on a bow and arrow, more or less. Rising up, returning to center, and again, heading to the other side. So there's that L shape with the hand, the palm, expanded and facing to the side of your space. Opposite hand pulls across your chest as you lower your body. And then rise back up. Back toward the center. Head the other way. An L shape through the thumb and the index finger, palm stretching. Chest opening as you drop your seat. And returning through the center. Should you find it worthwhile in your body to explore, you can play around as you pull across your chest, aiming that bow and arrow down to the ground. You're welcome to aim that bow and arrow up to the sky if that suits you. Be willing to set an aim, to have a target. Again, with all of these movements, we want to have a clarity and sort of a full poweredness to the intention, even though we are deliberately not using the full physical range of motion of the body. A little bit of leftover in terms of the action. Nothing left unused in terms of the intention. Again, that little discrepancy between the range of motion we're using and the intention that we're drawing upon starts to encourage more internal action, starts to encourage movement of vital energy. implementing the rhythm of your breath, connecting in whatever way suits you, your breath and the movement of your body, as one big experience. We'll do this a couple more times. And as always, full permission, a formal invitation to keep the action going. If something noteworthy is happening in the experience, maybe something is loosening that's been tight, or you're having an observation that's novel and interesting, or you just want to give yourself the chance to really anchor it into the memory bank. All good reasons to keep going with this movement if it resonates with you. Otherwise, at the conclusion, here you can start to bring your feet back toward the center, toe heeling in to hip, with distance, maybe shoulder width, if you like a wider foundation. But once again, I'll have you send the heels a little wider than those big toes. We'll come back to that crossed arm configuration and take our next movement here. You can turn your right palm to the floor, your left palm to the ceiling. You'll notice the fingertips point inward to the center line. From there, using breath, you separate the palms, pushing downward and upward at the same time. Elbows stay bent. It's not a full physical range of motion, just your full intention. When you're ready to, draw things back into the center, and the hands will switch roles. So that left palm will turn to the floor, right palm turning up to the sky, using your breath to separate the palms toward the earth and toward the sky, drawing inward toward the center, expanding outward away from the center, and returning inward once again. The legs can be involved, helping to create kind of a pumping action. If there is a strong tendency in your body to want to really hyperextend those arms, you can add a slight twisting of the waist away from your lower palm, just to eat up some of that extra activity that your body might intuitively want to do. For some of us, Qigong and Tai Chi movement is very intuitive. It feels very natural to be a little bit restrained in terms of the range of motion, the activity. For others of us, that almost makes zero sense at all. So if you're in that latter camp, finding ways to use some of your excitement without locking out the arms, again, you can create just a little twist. Use the legs. It's not just the arms, it's the whole body involved in the action. So again, we can afford to have a lot of intention, a lot of feeling of purpose, clarity of action, without necessarily locking out the arms or reaching or straining to get to where we're trying to go. For the most part, these motions, these actions aren't trying to get us to go anywhere. They're really, in so many ways, in pursuit of making sure that we are right here, right where you are. That's the place to be. Let's run this through once more on each side. And as always, I even encourage you to keep that going. commit it to the memory bank so it's there for future reference, or if just something feels really good, something interesting is happening, keep that rolling. Otherwise, we'll return once again to that wider stance. Comfortably spaced so you have support. And we'll be in this wider stance for the next couple movements, so be willing to adjust high-low and width as you see fit. We'll take a gentle variation of our next action. So you'll make just a little fist. The Taichi Fist oftentimes we think of as being very strong on the outside and kind of hollow or soft on the inside. I like to describe it as having a little caterpillar inside your fist, and the rule is you can't smash it yet. You can smash it when you're done. That's rude, but you are allowed to. But in the meantime, for sure the caterpillar is alive inside your fist. So settle those fists lightly at your hips. Again, mindful that your lower back stays open and expanded. You'll tuck your tail under and start to drop your seat down. And as you do, just send that right fist forward, the very bottom of your comfortable range of motion. Kind of flex and tense up the body just a little bit. Let the body really engage. And then you'll gently soften things and rise back up to the top. So you'll very gently start to lower down. Opposite fist will extend forward at the bottom of your action. Let your body engage. Get very strong for just a moment, and then you'll relax and allow yourself to gently rise back up. So go easy and soft on the way down, extending that right fist forward, nice and strong for just a moment at the bottom, and then very easy and gentle on your way back to the top, softened as you lower down. When the posture sort of bottoms out, fairly strong. And then again, nice and gentle on the way back up. Clarity and intention, more important than range of motion. The action can be very, very small and still be effective. The efficacy of the exercise has more to do with your ability to commit to whatever range of motion you are opting to use. Even a tiny, tiny action done with great intention and clarity will produce phenomenal amounts of benefit. You might call Tai Chi exercise the epitome of working smarter, not harder. Gentle and easy as you lower down. Strong sense of intention at the bottom, and then easy back to the top. Just a couple more. One more for each side. Return to the top. Moving onward again, a little tuck of the tail. Start to drop your seat down. We'll bring the palms on top of the thigh, or I prefer personally, kind of slightly to the inside of the thigh. You can kind of decide where you want to be. That makes the most sense for you. A slight tilt forward in your torso. Let that lower body be expanded, connecting it to the pelvis, which helps you connect to the ground through your legs. And we'll make just a slight turning action of the spine. So when you're ready to just kind of twist, gazing to your right. And as you do that, press your left palm against your inner thigh and feel the sort of armpit down to your pinky finger on that left arm expand open. The waistline expands open as well, lengthening your side waist as you have that little twisting action. Then you'll come back to neutral and take it the other way. So gazing over, a little twist of your spine to your left, pressing your right palm slightly against your thigh to lengthen your right side waist, as well as to lengthen that inner space of that right arm. Coming back through neutral, turning, lengthening the side body, and returning to neutral. Rotating through the spine. Lengthen the side waist. Now keep that going if this feels comfortable and good for you. If your legs are kind of not happy or that feels like kind of an extreme action for you, a more gentle version of this will just be to extend your arms down along the sides of your thighs and just to kind of tilt your waist from side to side. But you'll notice both arms are extending gently but perpetually. Again, there's an intention of reaching all 10 fingers, each finger working toward its respective knee. Even as the body might be pulling the hand away from a knee, that hand still wants to be down there. This sense of lengthen the arms. And from side to side, a sensation of length in the waist. We'll run just a couple more on each side. Once you're ready, feel free to release or to keep it going again. If something interesting is going on, no need to stop the party early. If you're prepared, draw your feet back in. Once again, big toes a little more to the interior of your stance than your heels. And from here, again, bending at the knees, you'll scoop the hands gently, raise them up. As the hands come up, the shoulders drop down. This time they'll go all the way around to your lower back, maybe on your kidneys, or you can even have the hands kind of more on your hips or in your back pockets. A little bit of support back there. Tuck your chin, and then just press your hips forward. Your heart will gently rise up. From there, you'll release that little back bend. Send your hands down the backs of your legs. They can touch or just kind of hover. And then we have 3 destinations that we're going to talk about. Your hands here may end up on top of your thighs. They may end up more onto your shins, or perhaps you'll connect your middle fingers, the middle and ring finger of each hand, to the ball mound of your foot. You'll have to kind of flex the feet back and shift weight to your heels. Wherever your hands are connected, underneath there, on the shins, on the thighs, engage your hands against your legs and lengthen your spine. It's like a half lift from kind of the yoga tradition. Just a little extension of the backs of the legs. Release your hands when you're ready. Bend your knees, drop your seat, and then you'll carefully rise up again. Taking your arms overhead for a moment, they'll circle around. Hands on your seat, your low back or your kidneys. Tuck the chin, press your hips forward to lift your heart. And then you'll bend at your knees to send your arms downward along the backs of your legs. Hands will anchor on thighs, shins, or slightly underneath on the ball mounds of your feet. Lengthen the arms, the legs, the spine. And then release and drop your seat down to start again. So if you are yoga experienced, you may correctly be discerning that in essence, we're just doing a sun salutation or Surya Namaskar without the notorious and infamous and often greatly maligned chaturanga push-up. Here's the highlights: a standing sun salutation. Very similar. But again, difference being we're not at all concerned with using our full range of motion here. Full range of intention, clarity of purpose. Not necessarily worried about going as far as we physically can. Letting the internal body engage, cultivating a willingness to allow work to happen even if it is not visibly occurring. We'll run just a couple more as we're starting to get short on time. once more for good measure, or again, if you are having a blast, I highly encourage you to keep going for as long as feels right to you. You can always watch the replay if you want to catch an exercise you might have missed. We'll come through our last one, the full cycle of all 8. A couple variations again we can think of. Simplest, least involved variation with the knees relaxed, whole body in a state of gentle, but again, very, very clear intention. You can just gently bounce the body in place, letting things just kind of shake gently up and down. Or for those of us, at least in the Midwest, we may have that image of that weird Jell-O mold salad thing with the apples and stuff packed inside the Jell-O, and you can just imagine your body as that in the back seat of the station wagon with the wood panel on the side, and you're bumping along the road to Grandma's house. If you don't know that image, then I guess that's probably not helpful. You're just gently bouncing your body in place. Another level, if it suits you to do so here, you're welcome to bring your body forward onto the ball mounds of your feet. Your heels float up, and then you can gently throw your heels toward the ground, creating a little bit of impact or a gentle thud, which will create that bouncing sensation through your body. And if you want to take it another step toward the full version, floating the heels, you will make a 7 count of bouncing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On number 7, your heels hit the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So decide what version works best for you. Ultimately, they're all serving the same purpose. So if you're struggling to do a more involved variation, in some ways that's sort of counterproductive. Better to just get the benefit. Any physical proof, anything you can see, is not evidence that you are getting the benefit. Internal exercise, by its nature, subtle and hidden from view. The version that will allow you to do the least thinking and to, again, be the most clear in intention with the least sense of exerting or using your full range of motion or full effort. That's the way to go. That's the better route. So whatever you have going on, take another 3 or so cycles, a few more breaths. And when you are feeling ready to be concluded, let your action stop. If your eyes have popped open, I invite you to allow them to gently close once again. You can keep your hands at your side, relaxing the palms and fingers open, softening the chest, dropping the shoulders. If it serves you, you might bring your hands to your heart or place your palms over your lower belly. Relax your jaw, your forehead. Tip of the tongue gently connected to the roof of your mouth. Softening any unnecessary effort or tension out of your body. Taking a few moments to experience external stillness, not doing anything at all. And to be aware of internal activity, feeling your breath, feeling the circulation of your fluid body, and maybe detecting the circulation of the energetic or electrical body. Once more, I invite you to remain here for as long as feels good to you. Give yourself the time, the freedom, if you can afford it, to stay with this sensation, this awareness, as long as you can possibly justify. You've set the table. May as well let yourself stay and eat if you can. If you cannot, no problem either. All of this is always available to you anytime you decide you need it. So with that, we can conclude. Feet can stay spaced, or if you prefer to bring them together, you're welcome. You might form with your right hand a nice solid fist. Our yang energy is strong, solid and hard, very powerful. The left hand as an open palm with the fingers and thumb drawn in towards one another, representing our yin energy, soft, yielding, flexible, no less powerful. We balance yin and yang because we can.